Now, if there's one thing I miss about the early days of gaming, it's that we don't really get the unique amount of cheats that we used to. The really crazy unlockables and secrets that every kind of gamer would buy a magazine to find out, and way back in the days of the internet. So this is a little top 10, not in any particular order of preference, but just a list of 10 of my favourite and possibly weirdest cheats out there. So enjoy!
So we begin our rundown with a cheat for the classic brawler Streets of Rage 3. Of course, it's not as good as the previous entries in the series, but it does have its fair share of secrets, and one of them is a secret character. Now, there are a couple of them throughout the game, but the one we're going to focus on here is a kangaroo. Yes, a fighting kangaroo. So to unlock this character, which is actually a boss in the main game, on the title screen, if you hold up and B and then press start, now when you actually go to the character select screen, you'll have a new entry, and that is Roo, the fighting kangaroo. Select him and you can have your marsupial way with any fighting thug that comes your way. So Daytona USA is an arcade classic and is as much known for its eclectic music soundtrack than anything else really, but that doesn't hide the fact that it is a very good arcade racer, and its Saturn port is also really good. And what makes it even better is its unlockable secret horses. Yeah, you can actually race as horses on the Daytona track. It kind of feels like something out of Talladega Nights, but what the hell, we'll roll with it on this one. So to access these hidden characters on the Daytona USA title screen, now this is a bit of a finger twister, this one. You hold diagonally up and left on the D-pad plus A, B, X and Z all at the same time. Now while you hold all those buttons down, you'll also need to press start. You may need a friend to help you out with this one. And then when you pick your car, you'll be able to select both a grey manual horse or a brown automatic horse. Yes, horse racing. As a horse, racing cars on a track. And it even neighs. What could be better than that? Now violence may not be big or clever, but as Mortal Kombat shows, it can be a hell of a lot of fun. Now Mortal Kombat is one of the most controversial games of the early 1990s. I mean, it led to the modern day rating systems as we know it, and the reason for that is this particular cheat code. Now the SNES version of the first game, it was pretty much very censored. Instead of the blood that the arcade version was known for, it was coloured grey and referred to as sweat, and that was pretty much it. But the Mega Drive version, again, it missed the blood of the arcade version, and all the fatalities were kind of rubbish. It just, every time you did one of those finishing moves, it just ended up with some rubbish uppercut, unless you entered this code. Now after the logos happen before you start the game, there's this little blurb on screen that talks about some sort of secret code, and this pretentious lot of text is actually referring to the code I'm going to give you. On that screen you need to press A, B, A, C, A, B, B. At that point Scorpion will invite you to, and once you do that, blood and fatalities will be enabled as they were meant to be. Delicious. Earthworm Jim, he's such a super guy. Earthworm Jim, he rockets through the sky. At least he did in the mid-90s when he became quite a popular character. He had 3 games, a cartoon series and a range of action figures, and now he's kind of disappeared. But let's go back to that very first game, or rather the special Mega CD edition of that first game, which came out probably a year after the original. And when the original game came out on the SNES and Mega Drive, its nearest rival at the time was probably Donkey Kong Country, and needless to say, that Donkey Kong kind of did a lot better than Earthworm Jim did, and I think the developers were probably a bit bitter by this, as this cheat shows. So, when you're playing the game itself, simply pause the game and press the following buttons in sequence: down and C together, B, A, 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 B, and then C. You'll be greeted by the words "Hater." And when you unpause, Jim will be wearing a rather unflattering mask of Donkey Kong with an arrow through his head. Jealousy will get you nowhere, boys. Now this unlockable comes from the Japanese version of Sega's Fighting Vipers on the Saturn, and this is probably the easiest unlockable on this list to achieve. First things first, you need to start a usual one-player arcade game match, and on your very first fight, don't do anything at all, just don't touch the pad and let the computer have its way of you. Just before he finishes you off in the second round, your match will be interrupted, stating a new challenger is coming. And then you'll be taken to a character select screen and the CPU will decide on your next opponent. And you don't really know who it is yet, but the theme music quickly tells you who it is, and you'll never guess. Yeah, it's a walking advert for a soft drinks brand. Simply defeat him in the next match and he is yours to select by continually pressing left on the character select screen. Now his skills, as it says there, includes quenching thirsts, but he also has a particular skill of pulling particularly rude looking faces when winning a battle. Now I would not say that I am a big fan of football, like most sports in fact, but there was a time in my life where I would be rather partial to the odd football game. My personal favourite is International Superstar Soccer Deluxe on the SNES. Now, this was Konami's pre-PES pretender to the FIFA throne of sorts. And within this game is an example of the infamous Konami Code. Now if you're watching this you should probably know what it is by now. And if you don't, it was a code that Konami put in a lot of their games. Most of the time it would give you useful things like infinite lives, level selects, more lives, etc, etc. In the case of this game, it's not quite so useful and more weird. On the title screen, if you plug in a controller in the second controller port of your SNES, and you press up up, down down, left right, and BA. Now that makes a noise happen which goes a bit like this, which gives you a hint of what this weird cheat actually does. Now if you press start on that title screen and just go through the usual rigmarole of selecting what kind of game you want to play, selecting your teams, everything else, and then start a match. Now, at the beginning it starts off normal, you get your usual coin toss and the like, but when you actually start the game proper, you'll notice that all the referees and linesmen in the game have turned into canines. Now Mortal Kombat 2 pretty much one-upped the original so many times in so many ways. More characters, more secrets, more blood, more gore, everything. But here's a fatality you may not have known about. The Mega Drive version of Mortal Kombat 2 actually has its own secret code and secret fatality that is not in any other version of the game. But to do that, you'll need to perform a couple of prerequisites first. You need to actually go into a secret options screen. On the options screen, highlight Done, and then press left, right, down, right, left, right. This will bring up a new test mode option. Now, when you go in here, you'll get a few various options which can be quite helpful when you're trying to play the game or finish it. Now, the first thing you want to do is set the background option to 6. Now, this is the armory stage, and it's the only stage you can actually perform this fatality, so you need to make sure you're fighting there. There's also one final option here on the last page titled Ooh Nasty, and you'll need to tick that as well. You can now set all your other options as you want and then start the game as normal. When you start a game you need to pick Raiden, our favourite Thunder God, and when it is time to from any distance press back and then block. Your foe will then morph into the grinning visage of Fergus McGovern, the head of the long defunct Croydon-based Probe Software, who actually coded the Mega Drive version of the game. And there's even smoke coming out of his arse. Classy. Next up, we're going to look at the magnificent NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Now, for those who don't know what NBA Jam is, it's pretty much the definitive arcade sports experience. It's an accessible sports game that even those who don't like sports, like me, can enjoy because it's just magnificently fast, ridiculous, and very, very playable. Now, NBA Jam is also very notable for its unique secret characters, and there are tons of them in every single version, and a lot of them involves quite a lot of creative licensing with well-known celebrities. Now this particular celebrity I'm going to show you how to unlock, and this is from the SNES edition of the game, and a lot of these cheats are revolving around the name entry screen that you get whenever you start a game. So each one you have to select a letter while holding particular buttons. For this one, you need to move your cursor to the letter W, and then when holding start, press the Y button to select the letter. Now, highlight the letter I and press the B button while holding start. Finally, you need to highlight L and select it by just pressing A. Now, you'll get a message saying secret character to let you know that you've done it right. And when you get to your character or team select screen, you'll see that, well, we have a new hidden character, and it just so happens to be the Fresh Prince himself, Will Smith. Now you can wow the basketball courts as the future Man in Black and Hollywood megastar. Mega Man X is easily my personal favourite of the entire series, very highly playable and still a great game to this very day. But what I particularly like about it is there's a very special secret move, taken from one of Capcom's other popular games. Now this is a very weird one here. First things first, you've got to run through quite a few hoops. First off, you need to earn all the game's weapons, upgrades and energy tanks. Now you could do that the hard way, which wouldn't take you too long admittedly, but you could just enter this password instead. Done that? Good. You need to go into Armoured Armadillo stage and play it all the way through until just before the boss fight in Armoured Armadillo's lair. At the very end you'll ride a minecart over a ramp and you'll need to jump off of it. Now if you jump onto the opposite wall and climb up, at the very top there'll be a health item which you must collect and then fall down into the chasm below to lose a life. If you repeat this, running up the wall, collecting the health item and dying, even after losing all your lives and continuing, eventually that health power up will be replaced with one of Dr. Light's upgrade capsules, and when you enter you see that Dr. Light's holographic form has got some nice new duds. Go into this capsule and you'll be given the power to unleash Ryu and Ken's Hadouken from Street Fighter, and as long as you have full health you can unleash it by performing the very familiar quarter circle movement on the D-pad and then pressing the fire button. It is so powerful that it will kill most enemies in one hit, and it will even take down the final boss in about 3 hits. Now that is real ultimate power. Now so far we've unlocked horses, actors/rappers, kangaroos and company mascots so far, and if I told you that we were now going to unlock a secret car next, you may feel a little bit underwhelmed. Until I tell you that we're unlocking a car in a motherfunking fighting game. Yeah, that got your attention now, right? Fighters Megamix is a crossover of Sega's Virtua Fighter and Fighting Vipers, and with a ton of secret characters from developer AM2's other titles. To unlock this character, you could fight through Route I in the arcade mode, but that would take far too long. So we're going to cheat with something called an action replay cart, which fits in the Sega Saturn's cart slot and allows you to input codes for various cheating and game hacking purposes. Now, first things first, you have to unlock this master code to allow the action replay to do its business. Once you've done that, enter this code. Start the game and you'll unlock every single fighter in the game. And there's a lovely list of familiar and not so familiar faces there. I mean, you've even got Janet from Virtua Cop, for God's sake. Pick Hornet as your character, and when starting your next fight, you'll see that you're now playing as the main car from Daytona USA. As you can imagine, as a giant hunk of metal he's not particularly quick, so don't expect to be winning many fights with this one.
So there you have it, my own personal top 10 cheats, unlockables and secrets. Hopefully there'll be many more of these in the future because there are a hell of a lot of games and a hell of a lot of cheats out there. But the other reason I did this video was that I have a little announcement to make, and some of you remember last year that me and Robin Park of the site did a video series called the Retrocast, and we had to stop it last summer for various reasons. And I just wanted to come on here and say, we're coming back! Yes, we'll have new episodes very, very soon. I don't have a date quite yet, but we are working behind the scenes very hard to bring you an even better Retrocast than ever before. It's going to be a lot more informative. Hopefully we'll have some guests on as well. A lot wider topics this time around instead of just straight up playing games and talking over them. So look out for that very, very soon.